when you talk about finance, do you actually know what you're talking about?
I'll be very honest with you. I didn't even know how to reshare a story or I didn't know how to reshare a post. I didn't even know the difference between story and a reel at that point when I started. I went to my cousin and I asked her what is the difference between these things and all. Before, what used to happen, women were getting married and there was no work life for them. So how are they going to get money? If they don't have money with them, why would they learn about money, how to manage it, how to get better with it, right?
I have a friend who's very good at it, so I take that person's advice a lot. And that person is just like, why are you investing in such like old people things? Like, why are you buying gold or why are you buying Reliance stocks?
The biggest scam in the education system, I feel, is to make people believe that job is your only way out after college.
Hello, VO fam. In today's episode, I have Chandralekha, popularly known on Instagram as Finance Wizard CL. Starting her journey in 2022, her success has skyrocketed in just over 2 years, garnering over 8 lakh followers on Instagram. Her content around tax planning and personal finance has helped millions save, invest, and use their money more wisely. In this episode, we dive into the world of content creation and finance with her sharing amazing insights and hacks for how you can better plan your taxes and invest your money. If you're about to or have just started working, this is the podcast for you. But before we go ahead, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. So let's dive in.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Barely Opinionated Show. This time I have the finance wizard Chandralekha.
Yeah.
First question is, why finance wizard?
So I'll tell you, this has a big flashback as well. I changed my page name 3 times actually.
Oh.
Yeah. So it was initially Fintosia and people thought that was my name. I have no idea why I kept that name. But I started with YouTube, right? So my name was there. So I don't know. So initially I didn't start with Instagram. I started with YouTube.
When did you start?
This was in 2021.
Okay.
In the end of 2021, I thought of starting YouTube. The moment I started, I got into KPMG. So I thought, okay, I cannot manage. So I wanted a better way to make content. And I mean, that has a story as well. I'll come back to it. But coming to the page name, right? So I changed from Fintosia to Finance with CL initially. So I'll tell you, the reason was I wanted my page name to have my name and the finance. Because the moment let's say a video goes viral, or even if it comes as a new recommendation to you, right? So the moment you look at the video, you will see what does this girl even do, right? So very few people will go to the bio and check and follow. So I thought I wanted to be very, very clear on the name itself. Then I thought I'll change it. Then people did not understand what finance whiz meant. So I changed it to wizard and finally it became fun. And recently also I got thoughts of changing and my followers were like, don't you have any other work to do?
But didn't you think about just putting your name instead of having finance or?
Right. I did think about it a lot of times. But yeah, as I told, I really wanted the name finance to be there somehow to keep it more, direct. That
Got
this
it.
is just about finance.
Understandable. So tell me this, why did you get into personal? I mean, I understand 21 was a time when social
Right.
media was booming.
Yeah.
Everyone wanted to do content. And
Right.
what was your reason for getting into content and why finance?
Yeah. So, see, I have been in finance since ages. Okay. So, I did my bachelor's in finance only, BBA in finance. Then, after that, I pursued my certification CMA. I'm a CMA and a CI both, management accountant and an internal auditor. And
Those are some difficult courses I've heard, no?
yeah, CMA is a very.
It's a hectic course.
Yeah, it's a.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you have always been into finance.
yeah, I've always been into finance.
You chose a finance course in your undergrad because you were into finance.
Yes.
Are you a commerce student?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So everything I come
Wow.
from is finance. Okay. So I've never come into the stream just like
Were
that.
you always good in maths?
Yes. I loved maths. I mean, I loved numbers. So that was one reason why I liked finance as well. Then of course, like talking about it became normal. So that became more interesting. But if you ask me why content in finance, that definitely has a story because that was never planned. Like it was the last thing I had ever planned. That is content in finance. I never thought I would be doing it any day. Okay, but few of my good folks, friends, they sent some videos. They're like, look, you started with YouTube. why not get into Instagram as well? I'll be very honest with you. I didn't even know how to reshare a story, or I didn't know how to reshare a post. I didn't even know the difference between story and a reel at that point when I started. I went to my cousin and I asked her what is the difference between these things and all. And that was my best way to start into content, if not YouTube. So that's when I started short form. And initially when I started, it was just like corporate finance stuff, which would be definitely boring because I was not getting response, right? People are like, what are you even talking? So then once I shifted to personal finance, that's when I entered KPMG as well. In fact, I started content after entering KPMG.
Got it.
So
But so you started at the end of 21.
no, beginning of 22 for Instagram, end of 21 for YouTube.
That's amazing growth in just 2 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
2.5. Yeah.
And by that time, I think Sharan was established.
Yeah, he was already at 800K.
Anushka was established.
Yeah, 800K was at Anushka's video is what I got from my friend.
Oh.
Now she is a good friend of mine. Yeah, but that's how I started. I still tell her, dude, like I got your video only. I started.
I don't know if you would be willing to say it on camera, but then doesn't it piss you off to see so many finance creators?
Oh, it does. Well, we have a group where we just
Bitch
talk about we see the basic thing here is that we do like talk about the accuracy of content. See, I have always focused on like quality, right? Like accuracy should be there, quality should be there in what I deliver, right? And it should be very useful for people. Now, when you don't see that with, let's say, other creators, newer creators coming in and still they're growing way more at a pace, that just means that people are accepting something that's inaccurate because people don't know, right? Like they don't know what's right, what's wrong. They will rather like keep that reel, save it, share it, and then think like we'll look at it later. But then when they look at it, they'll know that okay, this was wrong actually, right? But yeah, like we do feel. I do feel like it is sometimes a little irritating when the content is also wrong. But when the content is not wrong and the creator is still growing, I feel at the end of the day we are all like trying to go at the same mission, that's to increase financial literacy.
That's a very nice thing to say. It's a very safe thing to say. Huh? Tell me one creator you dislike the most. Others will bleep out the name for sure. One creator you hate the most and you just want to be like, dude, just like shut the fuck up. He'll bleep out the name. I'll make sure we bleep out the name.
Creator. See, I don't dislike anyone as such because if I dislike, I would have maybe unfollowed.
You don't have to be the same.
Which stream of content? Like?
Finance.
In finance?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I don't follow someone I'd hate, so I don't know.
No, but then they might just like pop up in your Explorer and like, oh God, I hate this.
This time I'll send it to him on Instagram. I'll forward the name and like, this is the page I hate.
Okay, awesome. So, you started content in 22. You started with finance content, and you saw your growth was pretty quick. Would you say that?
No, now.
I mean, now I guess it's sort of slowed down.
Yeah,
but I guess 2 years, 800K is pretty good.
It's pretty good if you consider. If you do consider the 2 years. If you consider my number of posts, it's good because I've touched 300 very recently.
Oh.
Yeah, 300 posts.
Wow,
so
okay.
if we consider that, it's good. But if you consider the time period, I feel compared to the creators right now, they're able to grow in 3 months, 6 months way faster than we were doing in between. Correct. So in that way, if you think it might be slower on a newer age perspective, but at that time, it was good enough. Like if you tell me 8 months ago, it was a good growth. Correct.
Because what I've realized is pages that were growing in say 21 and early 22 has sort of completely Instagram has cut short their
it's a big
growth
problem.
trajectory and like it's the new accounts that are peaking
exactly.
Very true. So when you started this, you told me I saw some of your content. I figured that you didn't look up to anyone as such, right? You were just doing content on your own.
Yes.
Was that beneficial? Was that harmful?
It was 100% beneficial, and I had that extra edge. The reason is I was in KPMG. Nobody else at that time creator was in a corporate role. I was in a corporate role, so I knew the pain points of people working over there. I knew what taxes meant to them, what insurance meant to them. And as if it's not like the moment I entered, I was a jnani and all. Yeah. But that those pain points were my starting points for videos. The moment I started making videos, I really have spoken to so many employees before, my colleagues and so many of my teammates before I started making content. So that kind of gave me, I mean, I used to talk in their language, but
Got it.
others were just talking it based on news articles. But I used to talk on fresh hand
From an employee's
experience.
point of view.
Yeah, exactly. So that definitely benefited me.
Got it. And when again, being a woman doing finance content
Yeah, in English.
in English is a
Yeah.
very niche market. That too
Very
about
niche.
taxes is like
Yeah.
very small market. Right?
Right.
And you're still able to grow, but then there's still a general perception of women not being too involved in the
Yes.
financial sector. Why do you
Correct.
think that is?
I feel it's because I'll tell you. So what happens is when women, right, at least now the new gen, what happens? People are entering the work life. Okay. Before, what used to happen? Women were getting married and there was no work life for them. So how are they going to get money? If they don't have money with them, why would they learn about money, how to manage it, how to get better with it, right? So they were dependent on husbands for money, and husbands were looking after how to manage it, right? But now if you see, since working women have increased, now even they are interested about money. I'll tell you an interesting fact, right? When I started content, when I was at 500k or maybe 700k, women followers were at 60%, men were 40 for
Oh,
my
wow.
yeah.
Okay.
It's now become 45-50, women 45, men 50. Still, it's a great ratio. This shows that definitely there's some progress happening. I feel this is something similar to a lot of creators as well I've spoken to. Yes, now the women side of the Instagram wheel is growing. Yeah, so 100% you can see progress. But overall, I would say if somebody doesn't enter a working life, then definitely they will have lesser reasons to know about money.
But I also feel like women traditionally are known to be the best at saving money as
Yeah,
well.
100%.
Like it's like
Yeah.
especially in traditional Indian families, it's the
Yes.
women that are sort of bargaining
Yes.
and getting the
Yes.
taking care of the
Yes,
house,
yes.
bargaining,
Yes.
saving money. It's still kind of I guess it's the societal
Correct.
perspective.
If
at the
you
end of
ask
it.
me if, in my house from whom have I learnt about money, I would easily say my mom rather than my dad, right? Because I've seen her growing up with her. I've seen how she saves money and all of it. So yeah, like the way women bargain, they keep up the savings always, right?
Yeah.
They keep it somewhere in the house. No one else will know it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Inside the what do you say, rice ka bartan and all of
Correct,
that.
correct,
That's the
correct.
traditional
Yeah,
way that
yeah.
we've seen, right? Okay. Anyway, coming back to this space. So okay, I've understood your journey, but then
Right.
when you talk about finance, do you actually know what you're talking about, or do you sort of, okay, I have to make content? Because see, a lot of times what happens for me is when I'm creating content, a lot of times I'm not very familiar with what I'm talking about, so I have to really spend a lot of time educating myself and
Yeah.
sort of understanding and then
Yeah.
put it out, right? But I do it for the sake of the fact that, okay, this is what people care about right now.
Right.
Is this something that you go through?
No, I don't go through like that because I'll tell you, finance is a very niche segment, right? There's only so much you can know about. After that, it's just your experience that matters. Okay. So until you reach that point, I feel like I'm comfortable. If I'm not, I'm comfortable with most of the topics, if you ask me, whatever a common man would need. But whenever there's a topic which I'm not comfortable about, let's say there's a new news of SEBI, broker, that thing, this thing, and all, that may not be completely personal finance, but it's still finance related.
Market related stuff.
Market related stuff or news related, that I don't even make such content first of all, because news is normally, it's just overrated most of the time, and then
Thank
you
you.
never know.
Yeah.
Yeah, like for example, the Grow fiasco that happened, right? Like it was not actually Grow's fault over there at all, and it came out after so many. By then, influencers have done videos and they've gained 1 lakh followers with just one.
What?
Yes, there are multiple people who have done, and the
You can
content
name
has
them.
gone. I mean, like, no, I feel like creators, see, it's good that they got the awareness and they made the video, but the point was that normally news is overrated. So I don't like make news content on my videos at all. I always told myself I'll not be making it. But if you ask me, yes, news, if I'm not comfortable, I wouldn't do it. And I would rather make myself comfortable with anything that comes around money.
Got it.
Because that's the only thing I have, right? My
Correct.
niche is very, very niche, right? It's not diversified at all.
Correct.
So, yeah.
Okay, fine. Now let's talk about from a more knowledge point of view. I want to pick your brain on some finance things.
Right.
First, I'll give you two options, right? Would you rather enjoy now or save for later? You can't take a middle ground. It's like a do or die situation. You either choose one of the sides or you die. What do you choose?
I die? I mean, like, what do you mean?
You get what I mean. You can't choose the middle ground.
Okay, I can't
Enjoy
choose
now or save money for later.
Okay. So it depends on the people I'm with. If
Okay.
I'm with the right side of people right now, I would enjoy it. If I'm not, I would save for the future.
Okay, so it's just people dependent, not about you.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Why do you say that the way you spend your money is people dependent?
Because, see, how much can I spend on myself? Like, I feel there's a upper limit on it. And right now, I'll tell you an interesting thing. When I was in college or just right out of college, I used to spend on luxury items, right? I mean, like, even though, like, I don't think I would have, like, if somebody else would have been in my position, they wouldn't ask for a MacBook in college. I mean, I did it. I asked my dad, like, that was the first Mac that had come Air. So I had to ask my dad and all. He's like, why can't you deal with Windows? I'm like, no ways, going with Windows. So I used to always be like, I want luxury stuff. Get a Nexus, get a iPhone 11, get Ray-Ban, get this. All of this I used to do in
What is the most biggest
college.
luxury purchase that you've made?
it's the I feel it's
Like apart from just like a laptop or phone, like
right.
clothing, bags, shoes.
Right. It's I guess it's bag.
Bag?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you
MK.
want to say? Which one?
MK.
Okay. How much?
35, 40.
Crazy.
Yeah. Okay. I'm saying it's slow. But yeah, I feel for a bag that's way too much. If you ask me on luxury, I would say a camera, of course. But yeah,
That's
if
a
you ask me,
necessity.
yeah, that's a
That's a
necessity for us. But yeah, definitely on the luxury end, I feel that's a
Bag.
costlier. Yeah, and a lot of shoes. So if we combine the value of shoes, it'll be a more. But what I'm trying to say is I was that kind of a person, right? When I was in college. And even right out of college, I was like, okay, now even after entering content, I'm like, wow, now I get
And
money
that time
to
you would have
spend.
come into like fresh money. Maybe you would have started
Correct.
a job. You would have
Yeah,
gotten
right,
fresh money.
exactly.
Yeah.
So all of that was there before. Right now, if you ask me, I feel I don't need any of those things. I'm not fascinated by having the latest iPhone. I'm not fascinated about any of those things. I still right now how my thought process has become is okay, let's say I want to upgrade to a new phone or something, and let's say it costs like 1 lakh. I think like with that I can pay 3 of my resources in a month.
That's so true.
Right?
That's
I
so
mean,
true.
that's how I think. Or I can hire a new person with that
Correct.
money, right? That was the reason I didn't even try to shift to Bombay, right? Because the rent skyrocket, the living expenses go up. I'm like, let me put that money on building a team.
I think that's a big opportunity cost that I still think about moving
Exactly.
to Bombay, right?
Yeah.
Because like people that move to Bombay say that this is the place
Yeah,
for
yeah.
content and
Correct.
you get a lot more networking. But
100%.
then it's again the opportunity cost. Here
Correct.
you're like comfortable, you're staying with
Yeah,
your family,
exactly.
you're saving so much
Very
money.
true. Very true.
It's a big
yeah. So now
task.
it's a big transformation even for me. I'm not like fascinated by luxury stuff anymore. I do make some purchases just to keep myself happy here and there, but not like before.
No, even I went through that cycle, right? So 2019,
Yeah.
again, I told you,
Yeah,
right? We
yeah.
graduated from the same college, so
Yeah.
different campuses. But once I graduated and I started working,
Right.
that was the first time I was actually earning money myself.
Yeah.
And as soon as I started earning money, I was like, okay, I didn't want to buy anything for myself,
Yeah.
but I just wanted to spend on different, like I wanted to spend on experiences, I wanted to spend on my
Right.
family, my friends.
Right.
So just like buying gifts and I spent a lot of money on food,
Yeah.
right? And I went from like a fit person to a fat person in that the first year of me making that money.
right.
So I think that is a cycle that I think everyone goes through at some point in their life, or
Yes.
especially in the starting stages, right?
100%.
Someone immediately coming. But tell me this: someone, a fresher who's starting their job, they'll
Yeah.
probably maybe start with say 25,000 a
Right.
month, 20,000 a month, right? A person like that, what should they do with their money? What do you think they should do with their money?
Yeah. See, I would firstly tell them, think of how are you going to multiply that money, work on those skills that you can do, right? Because like if you ask me, I don't believe investment is something everybody should start off. It depends on how much they are able to save after meeting their expenses, right? So expenses and necessities. So when it comes to necessities, I feel skill building is a very important thing right now. If people don't have it, then you're going to get stuck in the rat race.
Correct.
Right? So I tell my team members also, you please figure out how you're going to put that money and build a new skill. If you're doing something today over here with me, see how you can do that better tomorrow. That is what is going to pay you. So definitely invest over there. Now after doing all of these things, if a person still has money left to save, I would say the best thing is to first start identifying the person's goals. What is it, like long term, short term? What are your goals? 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, retirement. What are your goals? Then based on that, they can segment their money into different buckets and start investing as well.
But when do you think is the right time to invest? I know it's very subjective. It
Right,
depends on how
right.
people live their life
Yeah.
as well. But when do you think ideally would be the right time?
As early as one can. 100%. If you really have surplus that you can invest, I feel anyone should.
Yeah.
It should be a no-brainer to start an SIP today. I feel demat account should become mandatory, just like PANs one day.
True.
Because you see, right?
We have 10 crore demat accounts at
That's
this
it.
point?
3% of population is just invested.
Correct.
3.5 something is invested into stock market. Have invested their money in stock markets. That
Right.
means mutual funds, everything
Correct.
comes there. So that just shows the very huge gap. So if people can open just demat account in their name, their kid's name, all of this starts from there. The moment you open a demat account in your kid's name, your kid starts getting to know what that is. So tomorrow in the future, they'll start as early as they can. So it's a chain activity. Yeah.
Do you have a demat account? I do. Do you have a demat account?
You have to open one.
Okay. So as soon as possible is fine. But
Yeah.
then how do they get to know where to invest, how to invest?
Right.
It's
So-
like, so when I started, I don't remember exactly how I figured it out, but I think it was a lot to do with the people around me, because my friends
Right.
were from an investing background.
Yeah.
They knew.
They
So I just hit them up and I was like, bro, where do I start? But people that are looking at you or watching
Yeah.
this podcast, how should they start? Where should they start?
Yeah. So the first is, let's say you've identified how much money you're going to invest in. Is to first, let's say you have also identified that you have a goal to meet in the next 3 years.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but
Yeah.
is it worth investing even $1,000 or $2,000? Is it worth starting with investing $1,000, $2,000?
No, it's not going to matter a lot. But if monthly, yes, it will matter.
Monthly.
Yeah, it will matter. See, it will matter when you think about it in the longer term perspective. But if you're like, I need to invest, so only I'm investing 1,000, then it doesn't
Everyone
matter.
is telling me to invest. Why am I not
Yeah.
investing?
With that level of pressure, if you're investing that 1,000, 2,000, it's not going to matter. But if you actually have that surplus, if you have planned for what to do with that money and everything, then that 2,000 also will matter. 100% it will matter.
Got it.
Because assuming you are going to save that for retirement, it will matter. But if not, see, the best ways anyone can start investing right now is through mutual funds, right? Especially even in mutual funds, which one to pick if somebody asks. Yeah, so that will be mostly a multi-asset mutual fund, right?
Okay.
Or something like an index fund, which is tracking Nifty, because Nifty has all the top companies in India. So if something is tracking that means you're investing in the market of all these companies. And then you have the multi-asset, multi-cap
These are the
funds.
safest, you're saying.
Yeah. These are best. Like, I wouldn't say safe. Like, I mean, tomorrow somebody throws a bomb, it won't be safe for sure.
Fingers crossed, but okay.
Yeah, actually, in fact, if someone does that to your bank also, even that won't be safe.
Yeah.
But overall, what I'm saying is there will be risk, but you take that risk for the time period. If you're an investor for long term, that risk kind of gets reduced a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the thing. So mutual funds is the best thing away. In that, again, I told it. So many other index funds make sense for a start.
When did you start investing?
I started when I started content itself. The moment I started
22
earning.
is when you started.
The moment I started earning. In fact, I'll tell you, I traded and lost money before that. Okay, so in 2019, once I graduated, I was freelancing as a very professional visual designer.
Okay.
I was in the field of design as well.
Okay.
While I was preparing for my finance certification, so I used to. I had a 4.8 rating on Upwork as well.
Oh,
So
wow.
I had worked
That's
with all
amazing,
these.
actually.
Very hard it was. So I had worked with all these global clients, and that time I had saved a lot of money. Right, I didn't know what to do. I'm like, I should do something, and I don't know how I got into trading. I'll tell you till today. Yes, I have been a victim of the tips and all of that trading
Oh.
tips as well.
Telegram tips.
Yeah, Telegram. Why not even calls? Like people used to call, and I was so dumb to believe all those things. But that time I got into options. Initially, I lost a couple of lakhs, and then I thought,
Wow.
yeah,
And this is in 2019.
2019.
And that would have been a big lump sum for you at that point because you
Right,
had just
right.
started earning.
2019, 2020, you can say.
So I want to understand, was it pre-COVID, post-COVID?
COVID was in 2020 end,
20
right?
March.
Yeah.
2020 March.
Yeah. So it was
Pre.
pre-COVID and during COVID.
Okay.
So pre-COVID is when I started, and just after the stock market crashed is when I put my money in.
Ah, nice.
And after that, I wasn't like investing. I was basically trading, and I got to know about options, and I lost a lot of money. And then I thought, this is a wrong way. What am I even doing? Coming from a finance background, how could I be so dumb? Then you won't believe it, but I used to sleep for just 2-3 hours in a day and learn so much about options.
Oh.
I became really good with it. Okay, so with whatever capital I had, I guess I had like around 5 lakh to invest or to trade in options that time. So I was like, okay, let me recover that money. Okay, back. I'm telling, after losing, I lost like 2 lakhs. Then I thought, okay, I still have 5, let me like regain. What I lost in 1.5 month, I took 1.5 year to recover that money with doing it the right way.
Wow.
Right.
What
So
is
it
the
is
right way,
that.
by the way?
So I understood buying is a wrong game in options. Selling is the right thing, because in buying, your probability of winning is very low, even though your like loss is restricted to a certain amount, but the probability of gaining is very low. In selling, you have a range to play with and all that. So I figured out the game. That's when I wanted to start YouTube. I was telling you,
Okay.
right? I wanted to teach people options and do
Oh,
I didn't even like do
Okay.
much. I just posted a video that actually gained like 5,000 views on day one.
Wow.
Like that was nice.
At that point, it would have been big. Now the
Yeah.
5,000 is like, oh my god, so bad.
Yeah, exactly. So that is the thing. So I mean, then I even scrapped out the channel and all that. I'm like, I don't want to be in options
Do you
because
ever go back and think about now that you're at this level that you are at?
Yeah.
Why don't you go back and think about 2 years ago where you were and like?
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
What does that make you feel? Because when I think about it, when I think about at that time, I don't really remember a lot because
Yeah.
it all feels like a blur of things. But then
Yeah.
at that point we were like, yo, 100 people liked our post, and we got so many people to visit our
Yeah.
profile. That's such a good thing.
Yeah.
And now those numbers are like nothing. Those
Yeah.
numbers are very low.
Yeah.
What does that make you feel like?
Like me being when
The
I started
nostalgia
content.
and the moment of when you started versus where you are.
Oh, the progress is huge for me. Like in terms of the kind of videos I'm making. If you watch my first video, I was dancing in that video for explaining finance, and I'm like, what was I doing that time? But that is what was trending. Like people were dancing and all. I also danced and explained finance. So odd that was. But if I look at those videos, I definitely feel there's a huge change that has happened in the way we are delivering content. I feel it's the learning phase, and I feel before I started, I was, my dumb situations, my mistakes is what made me today. So I feel that's a important key events that happen in my life.
So you wouldn't want to go back and change anything in your life?
If I could, I will change the algorithm and I give me more followers.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
So coming back to the topic, so you said mutual funds is the best way to start, right? And
Yes.
you shared your journey about how you lost money in options. How much did you lose, by the way?
2 lakhs.
2 lakhs, is
Yeah.
it? And when you lost that money, did your family know about it?
Yeah. My mom knew about it, and I told my dad a little late. My mom was like, she was like, what are you doing and all. See, my parents are never like, they never scold me for
Okay.
anything. Okay, they're too supportive. My mom just got tense. Are you, how much, why did you do all that, how will you get it back and all that. Then she was like, fine then, I mean, that's your money. You've lost it.
Yeah.
You only figure it out types.
Yeah. But has your family played an important role in your in the finance knowledge that you have or that you share?
Family, yes, like in the finance domain, no, because both of them are engineers. So I didn't have any such input over there. But a lot of experiences in our
Life
life,
experiences.
yes, with respect to insurance, real estate, these type of experiences, definitely. What do you say? Framed my thoughts towards finance. But yeah, my parents have been very, very supportive about content, finance, anything I do. They're like, do whatever you want.
Got
We're
it.
happy.
Got
Yeah.
it. Okay. Anyway, coming back to the topic now. When I even now when I invest or put in my money in any particular asset, right? There is always that thing that goes behind my head, and I have a friend who's very good at it, so I take that person's advice a lot, and that person is just like, why are you investing in such like old people things? Like, why are you buying gold, or why are you buying Reliance stocks? Why do you need Reliance stocks, right? You should be more risk averse, and you should take more risk, and you should focus on growing this at a much faster rate than what you're doing. Is this something that you think about? I mean, everyone has different perspectives. But what do you think?
So I'll tell you now, if the same you, let's say, has a master's plan in coming up in 2-3 years, and you want, let's say, 10 lakh rupees for that or 20 lakh rupees, I wouldn't say you should be taking that risk. But the same you, let's say you don't have such plans, all of this is for the future, let's say for 10 years down the line, then definitely that risk is worth it. So it depends on what you have in the coming few years. I don't believe in this method of you are being young, so invest in riskier assets. It depends really on your goals, like where your goals are lying. How far are they? So if somebody asks me, yes, definitely, if you have that risk appetite, I feel you should go all in, or else it doesn't matter to go all in. Yeah, 100%. But yeah, if you ask me about gold and these investments, I am a believer where I would try to have mixture of everything.
Correct.
Not just one asset class. I would try to be in all the asset classes. But even over there, I would simplify stuff. I would rather have just 4 mutual funds, one
Right.
gold asset class, one of this, to keep it more simplified. Yeah.
Interesting. Now, you talk a lot about taxes, and
Right.
you help employees mainly with their taxes, right?
Yeah.
First of all, let's look at a macro level. What do you think of the new tax regime?
So I'll tell you. I feel it's a good thing. New tax regime is a very, very good thing, because for people below 8 lakhs or 7.5
7
lakhs,
Seven and a half.
7.5 for salaried, 7 for non-salaried employees. So whoever were in this range, right, they were paying taxes in the old tax regime, assuming they didn't have any other ways to save tax, deductions, allowances, any other things, right? So assuming that was not there, they were definitely paying tax. So if you consider them, it's a good point. Now, with respect to new tax regime, I'll tell you where it shines is for people who earn more than 30 lakhs. It actually shines through. New tax regime saves a lot more than the old tax regime, even after you use all the sections and all the deductions, whatever you can. Even after maximum utilization, you'll be still saving more on new tax because of the way the tax brackets have come up and the tax percentages and everything. So new tax regime plus is very simple also. So it's a pro. Now for people, let's say, who have home loans, who have education loans, who have huge number of house rent that they're paying, and who has, let's say, other types of investments which are made for tax saving purposes, then for them choosing the new one might not make more sense. So they'll have to calculate properly.
But now I feel the government is pushing people towards using the new tax regime as much as possible, right?
I don't think they're pushing as such.
The way they're sort of what do you say? The way they're sort of incentivizing
Right.
and talking about it,
Yeah.
I felt like they were pushing towards.
Yeah, they are though. Like if you see, right, if somebody is earning about 30 lakhs, they would definitely choose the new tax regime. So it's a push towards that. But if you ask me, for somebody who's earning, like, let's say 10 lakhs or have all this deduction, that push will become negative. Because see, many people have invested in these things for years. For example, NPS, right? They've been in this for tax saving purpose. For them, what will the government answer? So I feel they'll have both the regimes together for certain number of years. Maybe they might do tweaks to the new tax regime, but old will, I feel, still stay for years.
Okay.
Yeah.
You spoke about NPS. Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
So for those that don't know, NPS is National Pension Scheme.
Yeah.
Which is essentially by the government. You can invest money in it, and this will be for your retirement, right?
Correct.
So is the deduction there for NPS in the
Yes,
in the,
three deductions.
Okay, got it. So when it comes to NPS, is it who should take up NPS?
Yeah. So I'm actually, like, there's like, I've kept an entire slide, for my tax masterclass when I do.
Yeah,
like,
you
just
have your
for
tax masterclass as well.
Yeah. So that's where I tell about the slide clearly. I tell, look, 100% you'll be saving taxes. But when should you save taxes and when you should prioritize this is important. Okay, so I'll tell you what happens with NPS, right? Definitely your amount is invested into various asset classes, but you can't withdraw that money for 65 years till you reach 65.
Correct.
And for this generation, you think you'll pass 65
Wow.
even if you don't pass 65.
Chandralekha, that's a very negative way to look at life.
But still, let's think about the long term. People
makes
are
sense.
making goals to retire at 45, 15
Correct.
right now, right? Nobody is giving goal as 65 to
65,
retire.
yeah.
Everybody wants an early retirement. Now, if you're with that perspective, and let's say tomorrow you have an emergency where you have piled up huge sum of money in NPS because it saves tax. Now you are in that emergency situation, you can't even withdraw it, right? So that's the biggest issue with NPS. Now, if you ask about returns, how much returns it is more, definitely around 1.5 to 2% per year, the returns will vary because you're saving tax and all that.
Correct.
So including that, maybe 1.5 to 2% more you might get every single year. For that extra 2% returns, would you take illiquidity into your life or not? That is important, because the moment you tie it up to an asset class which you can take up at 65, it becomes an illiquid asset class, as good as your house, which you don't want to get rid of, but you still buy it, right? So the point is, are you okay to do that? Now, if you tell me that there's a person who is earning 10 lakh rupees, now he wants to invest in NPS just because it saves taxes, right? Now, let's say if all of the 10 lakh rupees he's able to save, it's fine. But let's take a normal family situation, right? In a month, how much will they be able to save? Let's say they're able to save around 40,000, not 40, I mean, like, let's say 20,000 they can invest, right? Every month. This is a huge amount for them,
20,000
right?
NPS you're saying?
No,
Or in
20,000 in total they can
got it.
invest. Now, just because NPS is giving you a 50,000 deduction, right? And you getting like 1.5 lakh extra deductions and everything, just because all of this is happening, you plan to tie up that money over there, right? Even though you have so many asset classes. That's a mistake. But let's say a person who is earning very good amount of money, has huge amount of surplus in a month. If they do NPS, it makes sense for them. So for a person who doesn't have surplus, they can still put it into mutual funds, which are gonna react similarly to an NPS. In fact, like, will assume more risk in mutual funds compared to NPS, because in NPS, the ratio of investment keeps getting reduced. The equity side gets reduced. But let's say, assuming both of them are giving similar returns, for that extra 2%, why would you risk?
Correct.
It is one thing.
I get what you mean.
So I'm telling that 2% includes all your tax savings and everything. But for a person who can afford it, why not? It saves a lot of taxes.
It's essentially just 50,000 in a year that you should. NPS gives 50,000.
Yeah, plus
deduction.
1.5 lakh it gives. And
NPS
another
itself?
Yes, NPS itself.
Oh.
So that comes through your employer. You can invest through your employer as well. So your employer invests on your behalf, but that's your extra portion of money, right? And 1.5 lakh, I'm not going to consider of that 80C deduction over here.
Correct.
Because that doesn't matter at all.
Correct.
But here, 2 lakhs. Here you get additional 2 lakhs on that 50,000 if you're going to do
But
it
this
through
is
your
only,
employer.
is this in the old regime or is this also in the
Nothing is in the new regime.
It is only in the old
Yeah,
regime,
yeah.
right? I'm talking about the new regime.
Right, new regime. Yeah, new regime, there is one. This employer thing, actually. This is the only thing that's there in the new regime. Through employer, you can invest in the new regime as well, along with the old regime. Yes.
Got
This is the only thing that's there. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Okay, so that was about NPS, but we'll come back to this topic. I
Right.
want to switch gears a
Right.
little bit.
Yeah.
What do you think about crypto?
I never developed any opinion
You
about
never,
it.
when you were trading
No, I
on-
invested.
Oh, you invested? Okay.
Yeah, but not so much. I invested like 50K
Just
stuck
to
in...
like play around with it.
Yeah, and it's still stuck in that app. That didn't let me withdraw
I'm sure
money.
you would have gained a lot. I mean, if you would have put in Bitcoin or something, you would have gained. a lot.
No, it did. I mean, now I've stopped checking what happened to that. But I'll be honest, like I just did it for the joy of being in the game. But I don't think it's an investable asset class when you have so many other things around you. It's
So-
good to maybe like 2%, 3% of your money you can have there. I don't think more than that would make any sense.
You would never get into crypto.
No, like not for building my wealth for sure.
Got it.
Yeah.
What is a new age investment tool that you believe in?
New age. I feel people can start understanding about companies better. See, this is not a new age tool, but I feel this is an update of how you have been. Maybe if you can start understanding about financials, if you can start understanding about the markets, if you can understand about the economy, you can definitely pick good stocks and make extra returns. But if you ask me what are the new age, definitely you have. I'll tell you only about risky asset because all the new age things are risky only. Then you wouldn't call it new age if it's not.
Yeah.
So there's P2P lending where you can make money, and you can also.
What is P2P? Please help our audience understand.
Yeah, so I'm not promoting this at all since you asked like what is
It's
a new
no
age.
promotion, no financial advice. This is just a conversation based on personal experience.
Yeah. So in peer lending, what happens is there are two parties, one who needs the money and one who can lend the money. Both of these parties are brought together on a platform, and the platform takes care of the entire process, like what percentage will this borrower lend at, what percentage will this borrower take money. All these things are set by the platform, and basically the platform like acts like your negotiator in between and sees that your money gets back to you. So you will be putting your money inside the platform will be lending it to different people like you and me, right? So let's say somebody needs urgent money to buy something, right? Or let's say they need it for an emergency, so they would take a loan. Right. Now in banks, it becomes harder to get these loans. If it's a personal loan, the interest rates are high and all these things. And also, not everybody can get a loan so easily. So people approach these type of platforms. They borrow from there, and somebody like you and me on the other side will be lending money as well. We wouldn't know who they are, what they do, how are they going to use it. The platform will analyze their entire portfolio, see that the non-performing assets are as low as possible. And if this is very risky because nobody guarantees you that you will get that money back. Even though all the platforms are doing, there's still a risk attached to it. Yeah.
But I haven't seen that great of a return being given. Maybe 10%.
So no, it is 12 to 15%. But this is a fixed interest. So if you think about a loan, right? If let's say you lend money to your friend and you're getting fixed interest of 12 to 15.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good.
Interesting. What do you think about fractional ownership of property?
That's also a good way to.
Yeah.
I mean, but if you ask me, like, is real estate good? Okay, it depends on how you have come. How has your history been? My history has been bad with real estate.
Why is that?
Because my parents, right?
Tell more.
They've got real estates and all. They have had bad experience with court cases on those
Family
properties.
issues.
Not family issues, no, court cases on properties, right? Like real estate. It's never been so stable. Like it was always like,
It's a
can
big
we even
hassle,
sell
big
it?
headache.
Yeah, big hassle, big headache, and all of it. But there are people who invest in real estate as well. So I feel it depends on experiences. Okay, but if you're doing that fractional ownership to get money, to get returns, to accumulate returns for your real estate property, if you're in that intention, it depends on which place you're owning it, whether which city you're owning that fractional ownership in, whether Bombay, Bangalore, lot of things matters. I feel it's dependent on all of those things. But I have had a bad experience, so I wouldn't even put my money
stay
there
away
at all.
from it.
I stay away from it completely.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay, coming back to our conversation about taxes.
Yeah.
So now that it's been 2-3 months since the new financial year has started.
Right.
For people to plan their taxes
Right.
and plan their finances right now, what is the top priority that they should focus on?
So one is to submit the declarations properly to your company.
Okay.
So what happens here is that let's say you're making some tax saving investments, you have some tax saving expenses as well. companies don't know what you're doing, right?
Okay.
So you need to declare to them that, look, I'm paying rent, look, I'm paying for insurance, look, I'm investing here, everything, right? Only if you're going to declare that correctly to the company will your company cut the right taxes, or else your TDS will be higher. Now, many people, why do you get refund? Because you wouldn't have declared something before. Now you're declaring it at the end of filing. You're basically telling the government that, look, I'm eligible for this, and that is why you're getting refund. You wouldn't even like need it if you're declaring it properly, right? So TDS cut will be lower if you do this correctly. That's the first step, is to understand, right? Now this comes from planning. Definitely you declare only if you have a plan on
Correct.
where to put your money,
Most
right?
people don't even know what you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. So one thing is to, if you're just starting out and you're just figuring out, understand that even though government tax all of your income, they still give you some amount of leverage on what you can save tax.
Okay.
And that is what is called a deduction. So basically what the government says is, look, we'll let you spend money on certain things which you can remove from your income, and we won't tax that certain amount of money.
Got it.
It can either be your investments, it can be expenses, or it can be your incomes as well.
What sort of expenses can people claim?
Right. So one is insurance, tuition fees for kids. That's
Insurance, health insurance, life
health.
insurance,
Not life, health.
only health
Like,
insurance.
yeah, health insurance. Life you can, but life comes in your section 80C. Now, for most of the people, this section, which is restricted to 1.5 lakh rupees of deduction, is already filled up with your provident fund. It's filled up with your tuition fees of kids. Normally this section gets filled up in other ways. If it's not filled up, then the best way a person should fill it up will be through ELSS.
Okay.
Right, that is equity linked saving schemes.
Okay.
So these basically invest just like in equities only, they invest, but government says if you're going to invest here, the lock-in will be for 3 years. You can't withdraw it, but you'll get the same gains just like how you invest in equities. However, we'll give you a tax reduction on it. So it's the shortest way in terms of duration to save taxes.
Got it.
So that is one way. And these are the expenses. Then you have your, definitely for home loan, if you have stamp duty and all of it, then you have home loan interest. Lot of expenses like this come up, interest, education loan interest and all. But common expenses are these,
Got it.
right?
Okay,
These are the common, yeah.
So you spoke about loans. Loans is a very integral part of almost everyone's life, right? Sometimes, so what's happened in the past, and this is how there's a very interesting insight, is that whenever we promote any fintech brand, there will be at least 15 to 20 DMs that will get, sir, loan milega kya, loan milega kya, loan milega kya. Why are people needing loans so badly? What is it that's going on? I'm sure you as a finance creator, you also get so many of these DMs, and
Right.
I'm sure people are reaching out to you asking about loans and trying to understand loans.
Yeah, 100%.
What is it about loans that people are so...
Yeah. So I feel it's all to do with your the way inflation is happening and the way your incomes are getting distributed. So if you think about it, right, your income... Okay, so I'll give an example of my college days, right? 2019, at Accenture or Infosys or these tech companies were paying 4.5 lakh. No, 3.5 lakh. Okay, per annum. And right now it's 4. That's it. 50K increase, and inflation has increased like anything.
Correct.
You need more money to spend. If your income is not increasing and you need more money to spend, that's when you require external source of income. Now, what happens I feel what happens with people is they come out of college. Now they're pressurized to settle. They're pressurized to earn. They're pressurized into a lot of different things, which makes them go towards loans. And the fact that loans have become so easily accessible. We have travel loans, marriage loans, phone loans, every loan for everything. Now, since these things have become so accessible, a person, let's say, who's only saving like 10,000, 20,000 in a month, even though he's paying 30% interest, for him in a month, let's say he's paying little amount, right? He's not losing all of his savings. Let's say he's just paying like 1,000 rupees. For him, it's small. But in fact, if you see the longer perspective, 30% personal loan, why are you doing it? But for him, it's ease. Like he's able to do. But there's always this pressure that you have to pay it back, and people get into a trap. Like slowly it becomes a trap if you're going to take loans for every small thing of your life. I feel rather than doing that, a person should, I mean, this realization should come very early. I feel the moment we pass out of college or while we are in college, I feel the biggest scam in education system, I feel, is to make people believe that job is your only way out after college. I just feel people should start recognizing it, and I feel this is coming in urban culture. Many people are trying out new different things and all of it. So if people can build alternative sources of income, I feel this thing of taking loans reduces. But yeah, I can tell you accessibility of loan is the reason why people are mostly into taking loans. It's become so easy to take any loan today.
So I remember the author of Rich Dad Poor Dad, about a few months ago, he came out with a statement that he's $1.2 billion in debt. He has that many loans that he's taken, and he's like, that's how I live. And what I believe is that is how most of the rich people live their life.
Right,
They live in debt,
Correct.
and even though they are like billionaires.
Yes.
Why?
There's a difference between bad debt and good debt. Okay. So your good debt is when you use your loan to build an asset, or you should take loans when you know that you're going to grow money with that loan, right? Basically, it should be a capital. If it's not a capital and a liability, that's the issue, right? So your loan should be a capital into something that can grow money, right? That is when you take a loan. For example, let's take you and me, are content creators. We take a loan to purchase gadgets, right? For us, is that a liability? No, we are investing. Yes, loan is a liability, but we are investing it in an asset to grow money, right? So at the end of the day, we are building assets that grow money to pay off this loan. Now, if you're going to take loan for buying an iPhone, how will iPhone give you money if you're not a content creator, right? So people, that is the difference between a bad loan and good loan. So good loan should help you make money. The rich take loans to build wealth, but the poor are taking to consume.
To survive.
To survive. Now that's the difference.
That's very interesting. I remember I asked my brother also this, right? Because he took an education loan about 7-8 years ago. He is well off to pay it off now. And I was like, why haven't you paid it off? And he was just like, see, I have to pay 8% interest on loan, right? But I'm already, if I give the lump sum right now, okay, I will save on that 8%, but the money that I have right now, I can't do anything apart from just paying the loan then. But instead, I could use this money to get a good 12 to 15% return doing whatever else.
100%.
Correct?
Yeah.
And that's, I feel, is the basic mentality of taking a loan, yes?
No, that's not the basic mentality of taking a loan, but that is if you're gonna take that loan, let's say like your brother took, right? Or let's say home loan. These two loans you can surpass the returns, because in our country,
Oh, it's very low. That's
home loan and education loan is the lowest. Any other loan you take, how will you surpass the returns?
Well, what are the interest rates, right?
For home loan?
Not home loan, apart from home loan and personal loan?
For personal loan, it's easily around 17, 25, 30%.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, 35 would be credit cards and all that. But yeah, easily 15% and above. Easily.
Okay.
For personal loans.
Okay. When is the best time for someone? First of all, what sort of loan should people be willing to take?
Yeah.
That's one. Second is, what is the best time to take a loan?
The best. Now, I can't tell them to wait for 5 years to build their house, dream house and all.
Yeah.
Right now, if you see any day, right, this is relativity, okay? Your home loan is proportional to other interest rates around you, okay? So, there will never be a right time to take a loan. But if you just want that exact time when it is, it's when your interest rates are lower. That's it. So it's your opposite of.
When do the interest rates get low?
Now, when the country and the economy, or when the world starts printing lesser money, that's when everything will get lower. But in the US, they have printed a lot of money. So
not anytime soon, basically.
Yeah, right now the home loans are at what, 9%, 9.5%, 10. Yeah. So this is pretty, just 3-4 years ago, it was 6.5, 7.5. Okay. So it has increased a lot. right? Now, proportionally, definitely your FDs also have increased, but home loans have increased a little more than your FD rates, right? So, if you have a dream of, let's say, taking a home loan and all of that, if you have the capacity to, let's say, repay it as quick as possible, then you can take a loan any day, right? If you have the capacity to repay it faster. But if not, then a person can wait for a year or two for the interest rate to come down a little bit and take as well. But yeah, like, yes, as you told, right, if somebody has this opportunity to pay back the loan, which is just 8%, and has another opportunity to invest that and make more returns out of it, 100% they should go with it.
Got it. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I want to talk about insurance.
Yeah.
Sorry. So in college, I remember one of my professors told a very interesting thing. Right? He was like, so first he asked us, how many of you have a life insurance? And 3-4 people raised their hand, and he was just like, why do you have life insurance? Just like, what if something happens to us? Our family will need it. Like, are you going to commit suicide tomorrow? And they're like, no, we're not. Then there's like, then what's the point of a life insurance? Because they're going to get the money only after you die.
Yeah.
Right? And that made so much sense to me. He was just like, forget life insurance, always get health insurance. That is what you need. And now there are so many different types of insurances as well. Like, obviously car insurance is there. That's a basic thing. But there's phone insurance, there's laptop insurance, there's this insurance, that. Are these insurances really of... can these insurance be useful? Or should people just focus on the basic ones like health and car?
I would say people, in terms of necessity, I feel health and term insurance is important. Definitely. Now, why would I say a term insurance important? In college, it was
also
not.
a type of life insurance.
Yeah. A simplest form. I feel these are the only two forms a person would need. That is your pure term insurance and your health insurance. Now, why term insurance is only when you have dependents. Now, as you said, you were in college. What will you... I mean, do you have dependents? No. Like, your family is well off. Yes. Then why would you pay the premium, right? But let's say a person just got out of college and he's earning, and his family also, like, maybe his family is a little dependent, or let's say he's gonna have a family in the future. For him, definitely there's a dependency on him and all that. So it is good to take a life insurance, considering the people you live with, right? If you're living alone and all, let's say nobody is there with you, it makes no sense. Or let's say you come up from a wealthy background, or you have everything built up, then also it makes no sense, right? Now next comes your health insurance. This normally are given by your companies and all, but it depends on the which level of employment stage you are at. Normally managerial and above positions have good amount of health insurance coverage, but people who are lower than that will have lesser amount. So in that case, it is normally better to have something of your own, that is an individual policy.
What I've heard is companies don't give good health insurance.
Yeah, it depends on the kind of companies. Majorly they wouldn't, like 3 lakhs, 4 lakhs, that'll be your max cap maybe. Even good companies might give so much. But if you're like, let's say in the managerial position, you would get like 10 lakh, 15 lakh of health coverage as well. So considering that, it's good, but not this, right? So in that case, people definitely should go for individual policy as well. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. And how do you decide a good insurance?
See, insurance should serve you the purpose for which insurance was made, right? That is to protect your family with good sense of coverage, right? Now let's talk about what is a bad insurance. A bad insurance is which doesn't fulfill this purpose, right? It fulfills, but not in a way that should be doing, right? Let's take example of term insurance. Netflix subscription was around 700 rupees 1 point ago.
Correct.
If you had paid so much every month for a life insurance, you would have got a 1 crore coverage.
Oh.
That's how cheap a term insurance is.
Wow.
And that's how cheap insurance is even till today. Netflix subscription went down, but this is still 700. But yeah, like what I'm saying is that's how cheap it is to get 1 crore cover. Now, there are other types of insurances. Why I'll tell you is because people are not happy paying for something they won't get money out of, right? They think, someday let's say, nothing happens to me, let's say I've taken cover of 60 years, let's say till 60 nothing happens, then all of this is waste, right? See, my grandfather is living till 85. What will I do? Like, he's happy. Like 65 pay, I won't, I mean, everybody wants to live, right, long, and I live longer, and this money is waste. So people think like that. Okay, and they're like, what should I do with this? Like, I mean, what's the point of this? Then so they start questioning, is there a way I can get this money back? That's when other types of life insurance come up, which give you, like, okay, you give money, later we'll give it you also back, but that comes with lot of other issues. So your coverage won't be 1 crore, your coverage will be 1/10 of it, maybe 10 lakhs,
10 lakhs.
right? You premium you'll be paying not 700, you'll be paying like some 2k 3k premium.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
For lesser insurance. Now this happens. Now people might be ready to pay because they also promise returns for it. They don't say we'll just give you a money back, but we'll give you a return.
Correct.
Now people don't ask how much returns it is, right? They just tell, no, we are investing this in the
it'll be like
markets
4-5%?
and we'll give you. But if you take out the XIRR, yes, it'll be around 5%,
Wow.
4%. So that's
so
equal
sad.
to your FD rates, right?
Yeah.
So people should be calculating your XIRR. If not, it's very hard to decide on these type of insurances. But simple, just take a term insurance and live happy. That's cheaper. You won't feel the pain of losing your money. At the same time, who gives you 1 crore at 700 rupees per month? Let's say something
that's
happens.
very interesting. Okay, anyway, again, drifting away from this conversation, you as a finance creator has been under a lot of scrutiny, right?
Yeah.
From SEBI, from your audience, especially like right now, I feel like it's still calmed down, but then in between there was a lot of scrutiny for finance creators.
Right.
Even recently, I think SEBI released another set of
yes,
guidelines
yes,
for
yes,
finance creators.
Yeah.
First, talk about what sort of reactions do you get from the audience on a negative side,
Right.
and what is it that they're saying, and do you agree with it or not?
Okay, so when SEBI came up with this, I feel it's almost 8 months ago that all of this was happening.
Correct.
8 months, 1 year maybe. So that time when they came up, definitely it was very unclear for everyone what they were targeting. So many things, like we were like, everybody was scratching their heads, like what will happen? Because see, one thing is the restriction that you get, and the brands, the money, it'll reduce, right? If SEBI restricts brands from involving with creators and all of this, that time there was this time when people used to comment directly telling what have you learned, what is your certification, how can you tell this, how can you say that. There was a time, okay, it was hardly like lasted a month. After that, there were all the news were coming out, creators were coming out, everybody was like, there is a differentiation in finance creators as well. There are creators who are educating people. I have educated myself, I have educated people about so many government related schemes, government, let's say SGB, sovereign gold bond, that which have touched like 20-30 million views. And now if government restricts it, who will, government knows that, right? There are so many creators who are doing educative stuff as well. So, but that was not clear when they came out with all of this thing. So that time definitely there was some little backlash on bigger creators, lesser on me. Maybe it did happen that everybody was scared. But now then it started slowly reducing because we did get internal communication that this was not targeted for all creators, but specifically those involved in giving stock market tips, running Telegram communities. Like Telegram in India is known for Telegram. It's such a beautiful platform. Like,
And
it's way better than
full
WhatsApp.
reputation has gone down.
Yeah, it's way better than WhatsApp if you ask me. Lot of features, but the entire reputation has gone to the ground.
As soon as I hear someone using Telegram, I'm like, okay, what are you using it for? Stocks or crypto?
Yeah, exactly. So that's how it has become. Now government is restricting those type of people. Even the recent communication that has come out, they have told clearly that if you are into the, let's say, mutual fund distributor, or if you have a license to do any of the, if you have license, in the stock market, then you cannot encourage, you cannot do promotion through creators who are giving advising, right? Because there were a lot of pump and dump schemes happening with penny stocks and all of that.
Correct.
I guess pump and dump, if you know about it, it's like you basically pick up a small stock and you you have a lot of control on that stock, and you tell your audience to invest there, and once the stock price rises because your audience have invested, you sell it and make a profit, but your audience loses it. This is a basic pump and dump
Yeah,
scheme.
you can watch Wolf of Wall Street. It teaches you.
Oh yeah. Right, that's an amazing movie. So like these kind of things were happening. Sabi has arrested a lot of them also. So now the recent circular is very clear that they're talking only about the advising sector.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
And what about your audiences? The sort of reaction that you get from your audience, because it happens a lot of time that a lot of people are just shitting on you just because they're envious of you, right? Because they're like, कि हाँ ये बंदी मतलब
Yeah.
video बना के she's able to earn so much money, and they reach out to you. They'll be like, whatever. How do you deal with that? What is that like?
Yeah, actually, with respect to this news, it's not so much because I don't make such content at all. If you see, like in nowhere I would mention about any stock. I do talk about index funds, mutual funds, like that in general, but I never be so specific.
huh?
So I haven't got such thing. But when I told you when that SEBI thing came up, there were like few comments telling that what is your.
But in general,
that
you
thing.
don't get a lot of negativity.
General negativity, yes, that'll be there. Once the video goes viral, there'll be some or the other perspective that's coming up and all that. I'll tell you, like, people can talk anything, right? Like, if you talk about saving tax, they'll be like, you don't pay tax, and how can you talk about growing economy? Like, I'm not talking about evading tax, Baba. Like, there's a difference. And now when you talk about paying tax residently, they'll be like, what do you know the pain of middle class? Like, people are paying. How can you encourage us to pay tax? One day I've done on voter ID card, they're like, you support BJP? Why you? I mean, yeah, this is a voter ID card. You can vote with to anyone, right? Like, this is how negativity is, okay? The moment you understand that there's a difference. See, I'm good to take critics and all of these things, but these are like,
Such
these things
useless,
keep happening, a lot of them, and I just think what should I even answer? Sometimes I feel I just laugh. What are you even asking? Yeah.
So, and a personal question, answer it if you can.
Okay.
How much you charge for a reel? How much you make per
I
brand
wouldn't
promotion?
answer that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's put some number. Is it it's obviously 6 figures per reel.
Yeah.
Upwards of
Okay. Now you're coming to the answer in different way, but I'll tell you how industry benchmark works in finance sector. It's like this doesn't happen for every creator nor in every industry. Normally, brands pay you based on your views and less
Correct.
on your followers, to be honest. Let's
Correct.
say a person has 1 million and is reaching just 1 lakh, 2 lakh.
They'll pay you according to the
And
1
it
lakh.
also depends on the niche they are in.
Correct.
Let's say they are into something 100% entertainment, right? If a finance brand, or let's say some brand which requires business, they go to them, they'll pay lesser to them. Let's say they are at 2.5 million, and let's say there's another creator at 1 million, right? They'll pay the same amount based on the niche they are in. But if you ask me the amount, I mean, I don't think.
You have the top level of.
No, it's not. Come on, yaar. I'm not a big creator.
See, it's not about being a top creator, but it's about having a top audience. You're like at the cream of your audience,
cream
right?
of audiences.
English speaking, employed people
Yeah,
that are most likely paying taxes because they're listening to you.
That matters.
Yeah.
Audience quality matters.
Correct.
But if you ask me, is there a difference between you and a Hindi speaking person in terms of commercial? It's not. I was also like, I mean, I also thought maybe it will matter, but it doesn't, because
Oh, it doesn't?
no, for Hindi and English it doesn't. Maybe for regional it might, but it won't for Hindi and English. I'll tell you the reason being, English audience would have the target market of South India. Hindi audience will have North India.
North
So now if brands want to do both, they'll have to pay equally, right?
Correct.
So that's how it will be.
Okay. So, Chandralekha, what's your... you recently launched something. You launched something yesterday itself.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, of course. So what we launched is Dime, and Dime is a personal finance ecosystem for everyone to learn about money in the most simplest and practical way possible. Now, under Dime only, we have 3 types of ways we want to we want to teach finance or teach about money. One is called Insidify. It's the content hub of Dime, wherein we talk about money in with different visualistic formats. For example, one is the Reads. So Reads is going to be your 700 word, very concentrated analytical stuff decoding a particular topic about money with calculations and with practical scenarios. And second is your infographics, basically oriented towards personal finance only.
Got
So maybe it might be about taxes or it might be about the economy, whichever matters to a common man, those infographics. And then we also have something called Word Made Easy. So here we break down a finance jargon in the most simplistic way possible, along with a practical way and how they can actually get started after knowing the term.
Got
They
it.
shouldn't go back to Google and search what the term is. So that's one. And the fourth one is called the cue cards, where we take up the most painful questions about money and answer them in a very simple manner in less than 300 words.
So it's basically a content hub for anyone that wants to learn about finance.
Exactly. So that is our Insidify. That's Insidify. That's coming under Dime. Now next is called Snippets. This actually started a little while ago itself, where we deliver WhatsApp newsletters. So it's a WhatsApp community. So everyday top finance news, visually we give it to people in the
Very
form of
nice.
snippets every day.
Very
So this we started long back and we stopped it because Dime didn't, that time we didn't want the vision to be that restricted. So now also we have snippets growing on. Even that is really nice. We have like 5,000 people already on WhatsApp community who consume snippets. And then last thing is learning. Now this is for those people who are okay, you're just learning in different ways in the free content possible. Now learning is your one-stop destination to get like professional knowledge about money, right? Whether it can be taxes. So that's why we have a tax strategy masterclass to learn about taxes. Now Dime idea is to keep 95% of content free. Only rest will be paid, and that will be for a specific skill you're going to learn, right? Rest of it would be a free content flow. So Dime is going to be a personal finance ecosystem. That's the ideology.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You spoke about cue cards. What is
Yeah.
based on your insight, what is the most frequently asked finance related question?
How to save taxes always, any day. People send me their salary slips. They're like, they send salary slip. They'll send off bank statements also. They'll send, what is this? What is this? They'll be like, what is this getting cut and all. So most painful is that. Now, in what happens with cue cards is we take very specific questions. Like somebody, let's say, asks, how SGB is, on the government website, it's stating as 2.5% interest. How is it paid? When is it paid? Does it come to your bank account? Where does it go? These are the questions we take up. Very specific that nobody is going to answer about. So we take up very specific questions in cue
These
cards.
are very like FAQ based.
Right. Very, very specific. So that gives them a solution, right? So that is the idea with cue cards. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. In very short, how do I save taxes? Let me rephrase that. Tell me 5 things that I can do to save taxes.
5 things you can do to save taxes. Now it depends. You're asking on a salaried perspective.
A
or
salaried
business?
a salaried employee.
Okay, salaried employee, then of course your HRA is the best way if you have home loan. If you have house rent. Now, whether you have house rent or not, you can still pay rent to your parents and save taxes as well. That's also fine. You can do that. And the next way you save is when you have your loans. That is when you save the next highest amount. Now third is something that nobody talks about, okay, that is allowances. Many people think you save majority of money with deductions, but allowances can save you way more than that. For example, many don't know that if you buy laptop you can save tax on it.
Oh,
Yes,
That's
that's called a
interesting.
gadget allowance. So this was introduced in COVID. So phone, laptop, both of them. If you're buying it for the purpose of using it for your company, you can save taxes on it. And of course, you get to keep on it. So that means, let's say you're buying like a laptop worth 1 lakh and let's say your tax bracket is in 30%. Of course, you save 30,000 in taxes. So many don't know it. Like there's so many types of allowances which people get, like
How
for
can people get
petrol,
that
for car.
information?
It'll be there in their offer letter or
Acha.
sometimes in your company policy also, or sometimes your HR might have briefed it. It would have flied from your head. But mostly you can you just type allowances that are given in your company on Google. You'll get the list of it. Now, not all of the allowances will be given by every company. It depends on the kind of company you're working with also. So you can go ask your HR as well. Look, these are the allowances that I feel I can use. For example, newspaper subscription. People can take ET Money, Mint, all these subscriptions and save taxes on it still.
Oh,
Right, because our new age newspapers, before they had put newspaper allowance. Now it's no more newspaper, right? Now, but the government says even this is allowed. Now, Now, what happens is companies don't educate people about these things, and some companies don't even give it. Okay, so but when companies are giving and people are still not educated, that's when people should question and ask and take it. For example, food also. Now, so like there are new age companies that are coming up with food wallets and insurance wallets and lot of things, right? Wherein let's say you have certain amount of money in your let's say around 24,000. That's the maximum you can get for food allowance. That's called a meal coupon before. Now companies, new age companies, they give this wallet to people where 24,000 is there. You can go buy anything, any grocery outside. You can go to Lulu
Wow.
hypermarket, pay and buy using that money.
And that
you
is
can even
again
consume
allowance.
food
That is
with
an
that.
allowance.
Yeah, that's an allowance. So 24,000 rupees, let's say 30% tax into 30%, that's the amount you'll be saving.
Wow.
So like there's a lot of allowances the company gives, but petrol is there, car maintenance is there.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot
So
of
we have
things.
HRA, we have loan, we have allowances. What else?
Yeah. Definitely with insurance, you'll be saving a lot. Health insurance, 100%. Like normally your premiums will not exceed like 25K in a year. So the limit is 25K. You can do that, and you can pay for your parents also and get deduction on that. That is also allowed. And see, apart from this, obviously the loans, the education loan, this gets you like unlimited deduction almost. Because no matter how much interest you pay, you can save it with the taxes. That's why your friend must have told, right? He's paying less. Because 8% is not the loan amount, it'll be around 10. So maybe you would have calculated the taxes and told the 8% interest. So yeah, so like this, these are the ways you can save. Apart from this, of course, there's NPS, of course, a lot of things, but those are, what do you say? Oriented towards your goals and things like that. But if you have tuition fees, I feel that's the first thing. If you're paying for your kids' education, that's the first thing that should be filling up your ATC, apart from your
House rent
EPF.
allowance.
EPF.
Acha, EPF.
Okay, and one more thing, one more thing people don't know about is EPF, right? EPF is the only tax saving instrument in India which is a boon to the salaried class. People say, my PF is getting cut, my PF is getting cut. But the interest PF gives, no other fixed interest instrument in India ever gives, right? It's always upwards of 8%, correct? And this is the best way. And you know what? You can increase this investment as well. You can tell your employer, look, don't give me my entire money. You invest in PF, you take another, let's say 30,000 from my salary and invest. You'll still keep getting that extra percentage of interest. Like 8% is a very good fixed interest, right? So, but many don't know it, and that is what is called as a VPF. That's voluntary provident fund. When you increase your PF more than the limit that is given, so then you can go for EPF and ask the company to deduct extra money and get that extra interest. So it's a boon, to be honest. It's better than NPS for me, according to me.
Okay.
But yeah, this is subjective to employment status.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we've covered almost everything.
Yeah.
Anything that you want to tell the audience before we cut the podcast now?
I mean, like, get on to Dime and explore the platform.
Explore Dime. You need financial knowledge, and Chandralekha is here to give that to you. So go check out
We
Dime.
have spent a lot of hours. Please explore it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Miss Finance Wizard Chandralekha,
Thank you so
for
much,
doing
yeah.
this. I hope you had a good time.
100%.
I learnt a lot, definitely. I hope my two boys here.
He will open a Demat account now.
You know, he's just about to get his PAN card.
Oh, okay. Next Demat.
Chalo, awesome. Thank you so much, Chandralekha. Guys, don't forget to subscribe, like the video, share it with people. And yeah, thank you so much for watching.
Thank you.